Oh wow, this is one hell of a New Year's party, am I right? I know. I just feel like you really get me, you know? It's the New Year. Do you wanna, you know, Oh God, no! I'm a monster! Right, I'm just gonna say it. This intro was mainly kind of based for another game that would have made a lot more sense. But I've not actually played that one yet, despite how thematically appropriate it would have been. So I guess it's Game of the Year. Oh, okay, wow, it's the end of 2027, and what a year it's been, am I right? We're still trundling forwards face first into the complete and utter destruction of the planet, but at least there is video games, right, to keep us entertained and to hopefully distract us from the low, dulcet background noise of the world slowly dying. But it is 2013, the year of our Lord Luigi, and it's been quite the year for video games. I assume I've only really played like 4 video games this year, and one of those was Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring.
It's a year in which From Software's open world epic adventure will continue to titillate, tantillate, and triangulate its way through the various Game of the Year awards. Look, it's good. It's a really good game, but I'm going to talk about Vampire Survivors now. Do. So, Vampire Survivors is a delightfully small game that crash landed into early access earlier this year, the year 20XX. Now, it describes itself as an action roguelike with bullet hell fantasies. It's a twin-stick shooter in which one of the sticks has been forcibly removed from you because you just can't be trusted. You'll do a run of a level which has a 30-minute timer, and your goal is to simply survive. Vampire survive, and that's it. Just survive for 30 minutes against waves of enemies. And I've played it for over 75 hours. Just a crude calculation reveals that I've possibly done 140 runs of this game? What? But why? Well, it's good. There's an incredible journey as you play the game. You start out with a very limited number of items unlocked, you've got a man with a whip, and you're just trying to get through life as best you can. To vampire survive. And you won't. You'll get to a point where you just get overwhelmed by monsters and get crushed to death. But the more you play, the more items you unlock, the better understanding you have of what builds work well together, and then, more importantly, you begin to learn that your weapons can upgrade. Your whip turns into a whip that heals you, your birds can combine into a single bird. Experimentation becomes such a driving force for Vampire Survivors. You'll have a character who has, let's say, infinite scaling area, so the size of their weapons get bigger and bigger. You're going to see that and think, I wonder what weapons would best operate with that. I wonder what other items would work well with this. What instead if I was just an old man who stank of garlic? There's a lot of conversation around early players of Vampire Survivors about effective weapons for early, mid, and late game. It's hard to vampire survive, and each run gives you more information that you might need to progress further and further, as well as the money to increase stats permanently to give you that little extra edge. With each run, you'll get further and further, the screen becoming this cavalcade of madness and explosions, the timer ticking closer and closer to 30 minutes. Monsters creep in from the edge of the screen as they slowly push you through your defenses, a garbled scream escaping your body as the tension builds. Ah! And then it ends. You did it. And an almighty explosion of release as the world around you dies and you're left standing there sweaty and breathless as you wait for victory to sink in and give you that rush of endorphins. And then death swoops in and instantly kills you. God, I wish that were me. But is that it? Is that the game? Like, you survived for 30 minutes. Death is surely the finale in this story because ultimately we cannot escape it. We are all equal on this planet under the horrible, cruel gaze of our inevitable and inescapable demise. What if we could kill death itself? What if there was a higher, unknowable power, which if we could just harness their abilities, harness their strength, we could throw off the shackles of the common man, defy fate itself, and stand above them all as the one true king. Eventually, you begin to master the game. Your builds just work, and you go about unlocking everything, achieving what you can here and there, and that frenetic energy, that nail-biting fear, ebbs away and is replaced with a calming wave of simple bliss. Vampire Survivors becomes a 30-minute experience to simply sit back and relax as your screen slowly builds into a mess of pixels and death. Slowly but surely, you no longer need to move your player around, and you can just simply fall into a trance-like state, weapon effects thrumming in a constant pulse, and the world and its dying screams slowly fade away into the background. This is why Vampire Survivors is truly outstanding. It starts with a tense task that seems almost impossible. Then, as you survive more and more, the game shifts into a delightfully calming experience. All while a wider mystery unfolds in front of you. You'll go out hunting down secrets and unlocking further characters, and maybe even begin to question where the actual vampires are in this game. The initial popularity of Vampire Survivors spawned a glut of similar games. Many games that have you running around waves of spawning enemies, collecting gems to level up, your weapons automatically blasting, and creating a new build with each run. Maybe with a specific twist to the systems. And while the formula for these games are always strong, they often miss that inherent journey that you'd expect from a roguelike experience. Hey, the weapons upgrade in Vampire Survivors, so ours do as well. But ultimately, missing the need to unlock the components first of the weapons through several failed runs beforehand. That inherent need to fail and struggle to make the victory all the better, and the slow reveal in Vampire Survivors of the game and the world itself is the extra spice that makes it shine. Maps will start out seeming like a very simple repeating tile set, but then suddenly you'll find something unique hidden away on the map. Behind the very on-the-nose references to Castlevania and other games sits a full journey waiting to be unlocked. And it's cheap. Vampire Survivors upon its full release is £4, which is wild for how much you will probably get from it. Plus, it just released an expansion based on Japanese mythos and demons, which includes an incredible map with so many different areas and places to explore. Yes, I'm aware that really Vampire Survivors is, well, busy work. It is the very simple feedback loop and positive reinforcement of just unlocking things and completing achievements. And that's fine, it feels great. Because yes, you are probably unlikely in the end to open up a game of Vampire Survivors, sort of set up your build in about 10 minutes, and then get to a point where you can walk away, make a sandwich, eat the sandwich, contemplate life, and then come back to the game and find that you're still alive. But those small incentives, those small goals, are enough to bring you in to do a quick run, a quick 30 minutes of your life, to just relax, just let everything go and fade backwards. Because Vampire Survivors, ultimately, is mindfulness. So that's why Vampire Survivors is my game of the year. It's an almost meditative game of sorts that has so many strange mysteries and bits and pieces to unlock and uncover that it turns a game with a very simple and effective loop into something more and just something you really want to dig down into and uncover everything. It is a game of small, consumable little chunks of 30 minutes to hopefully distract you from the horrible, crippling nightmare that is continuing to live and onwards continuing into the next year itself. The year 1993. So that's why it's just this delightful little game to just distract yourself with and just relax to as you kill thousands and thousands of monsters in an increasing nightmare of pixels. Oh, thank you.